Hi, I'm Roger Simmons with the White Mountain National Forest. The U.S. Forest Service, of which the White Mountain National Forest is just a part, is involved in all kinds of activities related to climate change. Do you know what the White Mountain National Forest is doing to respond to the threat posed by global climate change? Are we conducting research on climate change in northern forests? Are we maintaining healthy ecosystems? Are we sequestering carbon? Are we substituting lower carbon products for higher carbon products? The story of climate change and the White Mountain National Forest and the answer are coming up. The White Mountain National Forest is part of the National Forest System that includes more than 150 forests from Alaska to Puerto Rico and encompasses more than 193 million acres, or 8% of the total area of the United States. Unlike national parks, where land is set aside for preservation, national forests were set aside for conservation, or the wise use of resources through a balance of activities and uses, including recreation, wildlife habitat, clean water, timber, forest products, and wilderness. The forests are managed by the U.S. Department of Agriculture, Forest Service, and are yours to enjoy. Because the U.S. Forest Service is charged with managing this large and important resource, it has been one of the leaders in studying and understanding how global climate change is likely to affect forests nationally and around the world. Forest Service scientists working from laboratories in experimental forests like Hubbard Brook Experimental Forest here on the White Mountain National Forest have been instrumental in helping us understand the role of forests in the global climate system and how they might be affected by future changes. Researchers working with their university collaborators are investigating the effects of timber harvest on carbon storage in the soil, identifying ways to protect wildlife, and many other topics that will influence forest management in the future. Maintaining a healthy and resilient ecosystem is one of the prime tasks national forest managers are charged with. Doing this requires a broad landscape perspective that considers not just the trees and the wildlife in place right now, but what stresses the forest may be under in the future. One aspect of resiliency is to maintain a mix of species, forest types, and age classes across the landscape. As conditions change in the future, this diversity ensures that not all of the forest is susceptible to the same threat at the same time. By harvesting some mature forest now and replacing it with younger trees, we ensure diversity in age classes across the forest while also providing necessary habitat for wildlife. Carbon sequestration occurs when plants take up carbon dioxide through photosynthesis and convert it into biomass. A typical tree contains nearly 20% carbon by weight, and even more carbon is stored in the typical forest, including the soil. The current estimate for the amount of carbon sequestered on the White Mountain National Forest is nearly 67 million metric tons of carbon, or 245 million metric tons of CO2. That amount of carbon is nearly equivalent to the annual emissions of 53 coal-fired power plants. Offsetting that amount of carbon at current market prices would cost nearly $2.5 billion. Wood is a highly versatile product that can be processed and manufactured to meet a variety of needs and can substitute for other products that may require more carbon to produce and put into use. Because wood is also a renewable product, carbon is stored as the forest regrows after harvest. Multiple studies show that good forest management, along with the careful and efficient use of wood products, releases less CO2 to the atmosphere than using the equivalent amounts of steel, plastic, or concrete. The White Mountain National Forest sells approximately 93,000 tons of wood each year that is eventually converted into wood products, paper, and energy. So what was the right answer about what the U.S. Forest Service is doing locally to respond to the threat posed by global climate change? The answer is that we are doing all of these things and more. We are conducting research on climate change in northern forests. We are working to maintain healthy ecosystems. We are sequestering carbon, and we are providing substitutes for higher carbon products. Thanks for visiting the White Mountain National Forest.